Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be talking to you about chords and very well-known chord progressions and the way that musicians refer to these chord progressions and the relationship between chords and scales. So we are going to keep everything nice and straightforward in the key of C. Now, if you were not aware, the key of C is a nice, easy key because it contains no sharps and no flats. So simply, the key of C and the C major scale starts on C, and then we have D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Now this scale, bearing in mind we are sticking in the key of C, so this scale is the ingredients for creating all of the chords that we will find in the key of C. So the rule is, if we're in the key of C, there is no sharps and there is no flat notes. So here's another formula that we're going to remember. If we are talking about chords, we're going to turn these notes from this C major scale into chords. And the formula is this: major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major. Now if we put those chords to the notes that we played in the C major scale, we get this: C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, and C major. Now, also, we need to be aware of the fact that these chords are often referred to by their number or their position in the scale. So for instance, C would be referred to as chord 1. D minor would be referred to as chord 2, and so on. So the most common chord progression that I think we experience in music is a 1-4-5 progression. And 1-4-5 obviously refers to the chords and their position in the key. So in this case, in the key of C, chord 1 would be C. Chord 4 would be F, and chord 5 would be G. Therefore, a 1-4-5 progression in the key of C would be, or would contain the chords C, chord 1, F, chord 4, and G, chord 5. There is another very common chord progression, not as common, which comes up a lot in jazz, and that's called a 2-5-1 progression. So if we think again in the key of C, chord 2 would be D minor. Chord 5 would be G, often played in jazz as a G7, and chord 1 would be C. So a 2-5-1 in the key of C would be D minor, G or G7, and C. So we have two of the main chord progressions that we're going to hear musicians talking about a lot. 1-4-5. 1-4-5 in this particular key of C, is C, F, and G. Whereas 2-5-1 would be chord 2, which is D minor. Chord 5, which we're going to play as G7. And chord 1, which is obviously C. Now, as usual, I'm going to make a few notes and put them at the end of this video. So 1-4-5 progressions are very, very well known to be the foundation of blues and rock and roll, but also pop and country and other different types of music. Whereas a 2-5-1, I think, is best known for being very common in jazz music.